Really, this film couldn't have come out any time in the last 4 years when I definitely could have used it. Hello once again, watchers of Good Movies. My name is Nick Pell. This is once again coming from my apartment. Now today we are going to be talking about the film How to Be Single. Now this film has three different stories that it generally follows. It has Dakota Johnson and Rebel Wilson's characters, their story arc. Dakota Johnson, she has decided to take a break with her boyfriend to decide what kind of a person she is and do things that she's always wanted to do. Because as we learned from Friends, taking a break never ends badly. Rebel Wilson is this big party person. She loves being single and she doesn't look for relationships. And so you have these kind of total opposites for this film who end up being friends, and they have their plot line and story, and you hit to see that go on. Dakota Johnson's sister in this film, Leslie Mann, she's a bit older and she decides out of the blue, oh hey, I want to have a kid because why not, right? So we have that whole plot arc going, and then we have also Alison Brie, who seems kind of like a not really necessary character. I love her as an actress because Community just kind of blew her up and she's lovely. But her role in this film never really seemed all that necessary, except to just kind of add this extra plot line and like demonstrate another way that people take being single. And it's a little bit exaggerated in regards to kind of what she's looking for. She has this formula for trying to find the perfect guy for her, and it's just a little bit silly. And that's also the main flaw that I had with this film, is that there's too many stories going on. Like, all three of these plot lines could have been their own movies. They could have just focused on these characters in their just small sections, and it would have been fine. We could have just seen Alison Brie try to use her formula to find a perfect guy, and ultimately find the one that's been there all along, something like that. Leslie Mann trying to get ready to raise a kid on her own, or Dakota Johnson just trying to figure out how to be single in the perfect way or something. That would have been fine as its own movie, but trying to condense all these different stories into one movie, it makes it seem like none of them really have the full exposure that they really should have gotten. Like Alison Brie, I felt like she was very underused, as was her story, because we have a lot of time jumps throughout this film, and so you don't really get to see any of the relationships which develop in this film really develop that much. I didn't really care about Leslie Mann and her relationship, which is the only one that really sticks around throughout this film. And yeah, it didn't really work in regards to trying to focus on one story in regards to just like this whole clusterfuck of a film. The performances in this film are fine because all these actresses do a really good job. Rebel Wilson does kind of her crazy party-esque character that we've seen in multiple other films. Dakota Johnson's the shy, awkward person that we've come to know her from and as. And then Leslie Mann and Alison Brie, they play their stereotypical characters that they are generally typecast as. And they do fine in these roles. I didn't really have a problem with the performances in this film. It was just the stories that were all trying to be condensed into this less than 2-hour comedy. It doesn't help that the film really seems to slow down after the first hour. Because still the first hour is just generally just set up for all three of these stories, and I thought the first hour was fine because it showed generally what we saw from the trailer. I thought that worked fine. And that just slowed so down after that point, and then I picked back up maybe for the last 10 minutes of the movie, but it just was tough to get through at some points. There's also far too many jokes which were exposed in the trailer, because a lot of the jokes which were in the trailer are still in this film. I just didn't laugh at them because I knew that they were coming, and because I've gone to enough movies that I've seen this trailer at, I knew where they were all going to be when I saw the scene being set up. It just didn't really work, and yes, I did chuckle a few times throughout this film at other like small quips, but the big jokes which the trailer showed, they didn't really work that well. I will say this, the ending to this film I actually did really enjoy, because the message behind it is probably what the film should have been focusing on in the first place. Because instead of being the whole like, oh, being single, we should party and be wild and crazy and whatever. No, you should take the time to kind of like explore who you are and do things that you couldn't normally do if you are being, I don't want to say held down by a relationship, but generally, with lack of a better term, held down by a relationship. You have no connections, you have nothing to hold you back. Do what you want to do. And that's something that I kind of wish I had seen in movie format a couple years ago. So the ending to this film I actually did quite enjoy because it ties up at least Dakota Johnson's story up very nicely. Guys, generally this isn't really the best comedy of the year. I didn't really enjoy it all that much. Like I said, the setup was fine. The stories were just far too condensed, while the performances were just kind of what you come to expect from these actresses. So those are my thoughts on How to Be Single. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Did you like the film as much as I did? Did you hate it more than I did? Let me know. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe once again if you so choose. I appreciate it immensely. And as always, for my people, my name is Nick Pell. And once again, keep on watching.